art students. I'm here in the dark room. I'm going to show you how to photograph your 3D pieces. Couple things you're going to need is, of course, your piece that you're going to be photographing. And then you're also going to need your iPad or your phone, or if you take photography and you want to use a DSLR because you know how to use those, that is also something that you could use to photograph your work. Here is the setup where we're going to photograph our pieces. Here is a light, it's a softbox light, and it should be right here up against the side of your box. Okay? You have two options here for backdrops. There is a white sheet here, or you may also use the black sheet. It really depends on the color of the piece that you're photographing. So for example, I have this piece here. It's very dark. It's not completely black, but up against this black sheet, you're not going to see the details very well. So you want to photograph this up against something that is white. On the other hand, if I have something that is more light, like this light blue, it would probably look pretty good up against this black sheet. So depending on the color of your item will depend on the color of the sheet behind you. Okay? And these are very easily attached. In here is a piece of Velcro. You just want to attach it to the top, kind of push down, and that'll give you a nice, seamless backdrop for your photograph. To set my piece inside of the box, your goal is to create as least amount of shadows as possible and the least amount of reflections as you can. You can see if I turn this light more to the front where you're seeing a shadow, that's exactly what we don't want, which is why we want to keep the light over here to the side. It'll block out too much light and shadows that'll be created by having the light being too harsh. At this point, you want to take your iPad or your phone or whatever you're using to take pictures, and you want to photograph your piece from all angles. Because this is a 3D piece, we want to get it from all sides. Okay? Our other goal is to make it look completely seamless. We don't want to see the sides of the box here. We want to kind of make it look like it's just nice and kind of floating on like this nice white space. All right. So for example, I would take this piece, a picture from the front. Because all sides are different, I'm going to photograph this from all sides. I'm also going to photograph it from like a bird's eye view. And it's also smart to photograph your pieces if they have lids, for example, with the lid off to show what it could look on the inside as well. So when you're photographing three-dimensionally, it's really important that you photograph the piece from all different angles. And that is how we're going to set up for photographing all of our 3D pieces this year. All right, once you have your pictures taken, come into your gallery and take a look. Now it's time to do just some slight editing. If you just go up to edit in the top right-hand corner, cropping is going to be a very important tool for you. Try to get your piece kind of centered. You don't need tons of white or black space around it, and go ahead and crop it. I want you to avoid using any sort of filter on it, just because that's going to kind of mess with your color. However, you can go into where you can fix your exposure and things and mess around with that a little bit if you need to, make it like a little bit less bright or a little bit more bright. As long as you're not skewing the color too much, that's fine. Okay, sometimes it's nice to add just like a tad more contrast into the work. It'll give it a little bit more detail. So you can play around with that a little bit. Just do not manipulate it too much. Right? So that is the editing process. Nothing too crazy. Really, you just want to crop your work and then mess around a little bit in your exposure panel just to make sure the picture is as good as it can be. And then you're going to go ahead and hit done and do the same thing to all of the other pictures of your work.